I mean, here's a congressman, the number 2 Democrat in the House under Nancy Pelosi. It's Steny Hoyer. He happens to be a congressman from Maryland, which happens to be the state right next door to Washington, D.C. Steny Hoyer is in hiding with the other leadership in the House and Senate while an armed mob has taken over the Capitol. The Capitol Police are overrun. There's no federal law enforcement presence that they can see at all. And Steny Hoyer, because he happens to be from Maryland, he happens to have the phone number on him of the governor of Maryland. So that he's hunkered down in hiding under fire, and that's who he calls for help. Governor, can you please send some troops or something from Maryland? And Maryland says, sure. Maryland governor says, yeah, we have civil disturbance trained police. We've got hundreds of guard troops that are ready to go. Yes, just say the word. But he can't just say so on his own, right? You can't just send them into D.C. on your own say so. You need federal authorization. You need the Trump administration to authorize it. And the Trump administration is AWOL. They won't authorize it. Nobody can get a call returned.
Governor, what did the Secretary of Defense say? What, in denying authorization for the Maryland National Guard, what was the reason given?
Well, none of us really spoke to the Secretary of Defense, but we were repeatedly being told by the National Guard at the national level that we did not have authorization. I was actually on the phone with Leader Hoyer, who was pleading with us to send the Guard. He was yelling across the room to Schumer, and they were back and forth saying, we do have the authorization. And I'm saying, I'm telling you, we do not have the authorization. And so we had multiple times. The general was, we running up the flagpole, we're ready, don't have authorization, don't have authorization. And then I get a call an hour and a half later out of the blue, not from the Secretary of Defense, not through what would be normal channels. I got a number I don't recognize on my phone. I pick it up anyway. Larry Hogan. And it's like, this Ryan McCarthy, Secretary of the Army, Governor, can you come as soon as possible? It was like, yeah, we've been waiting. We're ready. I can't tell you what was going on the other end on the decision-making process. There's been lots of speculation in the media about that, but I'm not privy to what was going on inside the White House or inside the Pentagon.
Governor, should the president resign? Should we invoke the 25th Amendment? Where are you at with that discussion?
Yeah, look, here's where I am. I think there's no question that America would be better off if the president would resign or be removed from office, and if Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States, would conduct a peaceful transition of power over the next 13 days until President Biden is sworn in. Now, how the details of if that's going to happen or how that should happen, I don't know. But
as I mentioned, that's a Republican governor. They're the Republican governor of Maryland. He's one of 3 Republican governors who have now called on the president to resign or be immediately removed from office before the end of his term. But think about what Governor Hogan is describing there in terms of how this went, right? An angry and apparently armed mob is overrunning the Capitol. The leadership of the Congress calls him to say they are in hiding. They are under assault. There is no visible federal law enforcement response as far as they can see, and the Capitol Police are overrun. And at that point, the governor of Maryland says, yeah, I've got assets to deploy. I just need the Secretary of Defense. I just need the administration to okay it, to give me the authorization. And apparently the Secretary of Defense is not taking calls. Apparently the Secretary of Defense is not taking calls when nearby states are offering to send in troops while a riot is underway at the U.S. Capitol. And the president doesn't make that happen. And the Secretary of Defense, who's a junior guy who was just appointed to the secretary job since the election and nobody knows why, he apparently doesn't make that happen. It's guys from Maryland who know each other trying to get the troops in there without the authorization. And then finally, from outside the chain of command, the Army secretary, who has nothing to do with this authorization, an hour and a half into this, calls the governor and says, hey, do you have any troops you can send? He's like, yeah, I've got plenty of troops. I need authorization to send them in. I'm not supposed to be getting the authorization from you, but I guess you'll do. What are the repercussions of that? What are the consequences of that? Who pays for that? Who answers for that? That's part of what happened here. Not only did this violent insurrection happen at the U.S. Capitol, but forces were denied authorization to come in and stop it after the Capitol Police were completely overrun.